We are living in absolutely crazy times. Some 15-year-olds are making more money online in a month than surgeons make in an entire year. And it's not like they even invented the next TikTok or coded the next revolutionary app or anything like that. If you're watching this video, then you know that starting an online business is the best opportunity of the decade, of the century in fact, to build wealth. If I hadn't started my own service-based business, I would still be broke, depressed, and I would not be able to live this type of life that I'm incredibly grateful for. That's exactly why in this video, I want to share with you how you can start your own online business and obtain the true freedom and the abundance you deserve. So I'm going to analyze the pros and the cons of every popular online business model. Together, we'll take a look at how much it costs to get started, how much money you'll need to keep the business running month after month, how difficult it's going to be to get started with that business, and including the likelihood of success. By the end of the video, you'll be able to make a well-informed decision on which one is the best online business to start for you. Now I want to issue a quick warning here, because unfortunately, a lot of people mistakenly believe that hard work alone will guarantee that they will become successful and make millions of dollars. Let me tell you that this isn't the case at all. Warren Buffett said, it doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters what boat you get in. If you pick the wrong business model, you are doomed to fail, and I can guarantee that. If your goal is to get rich, to become, let's say, a millionaire, of course you will need to work hard. That goes without saying. But what's even more important than hard work, it's working at the right thing consistently for months and for years. It doesn't matter if you work really hard, 12 hours a day. If you're a simple regular McDonald's employee just making burgers all day long, that job will never get you to $10,000 a month and allow you to live the life that you've always dreamed of. That's why you need to be careful when making your choice. You need to select the right money-making opportunity. Now you need to understand that there are two main types of businesses: cash flow businesses and nine-figure businesses. So what's a cash flow business to begin with? A cash flow business's goal is to maximize profits and minimize costs. It's typically a business that doesn't require that much money to get started, and you can take it to $100,000 a month or even multiple seven figures a year. That kind of business is very unlikely to ever make it to the nine figures, but if done correctly, in some instances it can climb as high as the low eight figures. Now to give you an example, selling digital products is typically a cash flow business. You only need to create the evergreen goods one time, and then they can be sold for years to come. Now a nine-figure business would be something like a software company or a franchise network like Burger King or Starbucks. Those types of businesses can scale to 9, even 10 figures. However, they contain many moving parts and are extremely complex to start. Not to mention the high amount of startup capital required to start up those businesses. Not to mention the overhead. That's exactly why those businesses are not suited for beginners. There's a reason why 9 out of 10 startups fail. And from my own experience, after having spoken with dozens of entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs, most people only really care to make between $10,000 a month all the way up to $100,000 a month. Now some people want to make more than that, some people want to make less, but that seems to be the sweet spot for most people. So luckily for you, to get to $10,000 a month, hell, all the way up to $100,000 a month, you don't need to come up with at least $100,000 to start your business. You don't need to risk getting massively in debt. In fact, you can start a cash flow business oftentimes for less than the price of a meal. This makes it accessible to most people. Now in business, there are two different types of things that you can sell, either products or services. Products can be physical, let's say like a lamp, a computer, a desk, but they can also be digital, like an ebook, a coaching program, an online course. The advantage that digital products have over traditional physical products is that they have much higher profit margins because they don't need to be manufactured or shipped to the customer. Everything is done remote, online. If you were to sell an ebook, for instance, once that ebook has been created, it can be sold to hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people from all over the world at no extra cost. With a physical product, that would be completely impossible because it requires design, manufacturing, shipping. Now services usually solve bigger, more painful problems than products. And in business, the only thing that matters is that you solve the painful problems of your market. If you can do that, and you can do it well, trust me when I say you will be handsomely rewarded for it. That's why so many people go wrong when they just focus on starting a business around their passion, around what they love. They're being selfish, they're thinking about themselves. But like Zig Ziglar said, if you give other people what they want, you'll be able to have anything you've always wanted. Those people don't realize that the most important part in business is the needs, the pains, and the problems of your market. Not your skills, not your passion, nothing like that. Understand this, people are not just going to pull out their credit card and buy from you because you're passionate about what you do. Quite frankly, your customers don't care. They just care about the outcome. The only reason somebody's going to buy from you is because they see value in what you have to offer. It can either solve their problems or make their lives better. Now let me ask you a question. How come a surgery is more expensive than, let's say, just buying an apple? You might say that it's because because of the skills that are required to perform the surgery, or the equipment, or the staff involved. And you'd be right, but it's not the whole story. Another reason why a surgery is a lot more expensive than simply buying, let's say, some fruits, some vegetables at the supermarket is because it solves a much deeper, a much more painful problem. In business, the bigger the problem that you can solve for your customers, the more money you'll be able to charge. Human beings are typically lazy, so services are amazing. They're the easiest to sell, in fact. Why? Because if you could just give people a pill, they could swallow it and then they would have the desired outcome, whether it be losing weight, getting more sales in their business, people would take it. You'd make a fortune, you'd become a multi-millionaire, even maybe a billionaire almost instantly. So with a service, not only do people get the outcome that they want, but they get you to do it for them. So it's less work on their part, as opposed to if they were to do it themselves. And that's why it makes services easier to sell than products. Not only that, but services can happen on a monthly recurring basis. For instance, if you were to sell a service, let's say lead generation, for $2,000 a month, with only 5 customers, you would already be making $10,000 a month. Now compare that if you were to sell a lamp for like 20 bucks. You would need thousands of orders every month, thousands of new customers every single month to actually start making a decent income. And don't forget that on top of all of that, you'll need to pay taxes. Now monthly recurring services also helps to make your income predictable, because if you sign your customers for, let's say, a minimum term of 3 months, you know, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to make $10,000 a month because I have 5 customers. So not only is it going to give you peace of mind, but it's also going to allow you to anticipate your expenses for the next month. It gives you the same safety net that a job gives you, the paycheck that falls at the end of the month. So when speaking about payments, you can typically have 2 different types of payments. One-time payments, the customer only pays you once, and recurring payments. If you provide a lead generation service or you do video editing for people, as long as they want to keep benefiting from your services, they'll have to pay you. So that's a monthly recurring fee. It could also be because it's a membership, like for a software, let's say, or if it's a payment plan. Now let's start with Amazon FBA. With Amazon FBA, you buy items in bulk and you resell them on Amazon. You don't need to take care of the shipping because it is fulfilled by Amazon. This means that you have to find the items, buy them in bulk, list them on your Amazon seller account, then send them all to Amazon, and whenever a customer places an order, Amazon will ship it directly to the customer. You won't have to lift a finger. Now, how much money would you need to start this business? You'd need anywhere from $1,000. You would need to get at least $5,000 to $10,000 to start this business. Why? Because you would need to buy a lot of items. The cons with this business model is that if you can't sell the items, you've spent a lot of money and you run the risk of getting stuck with unsold inventory, which is the nightmare for anyone selling physical products. Now, monthly recurring costs are typically high, around 1 to 2K per month. How much can you expect to make per transaction? Usually between $20 to $200. You're not going to sell things for $10,000 on Amazon. Now, how difficult is it to get started with this business? The difficulty is medium, because it's hard to find items in bulk and it's pricey to get started with. Now, how likely are you to succeed with this business? Only 1% of Amazon sellers are actually successful and make a decent income. And then the other downside is that since there is so much competition, so many people selling the same products, plenty of people will see you as a commodity. So you'll need to fight against other sellers by lowering your prices. But at some point, you can't lower your prices anymore. And that is typically why selling higher ticket products is usually a much better way to build wealth. Now let's move on to dropshipping. The way that dropshipping works is that you're going to source products from Wish or AliExpress or similar websites. Then you're going to build a Shopify store, list your products on there, and then either use paid advertising, organic marketing, or influencer marketing to get eyeballs in front of your offer, people to view your product page. The pros with this business model is that you don't have to worry about creating a product, and market research, product development can take years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started with. You have to find factories to manufacture your product because you are reselling products that already exist. And then you won't need to have to ship the items to your customers directly. The manufacturer is going to do that. So how much money would you need to start this business? To get a shot at making it successful, you would need at the very least $3,000 up to $10,000. Now, how much money per transaction per sale can you expect to make? Usually between $500 to $300. And I'm talking in terms of profit margins here, because at the end of the day, it's the only thing that matters. Revenue does not put food on the table, profit margins do. So as you can see, this means that to make only $10,000 a month, you would need to get thousands of orders every month. So this means that every month you need to convince new people, thousands of people to buy from you, and that's very hard to do. Now, how difficult is it to get started with this business? The pros with this business is that it's very easy to get started with. It's easy to create a Shopify store. There are plenty of products on Wish or AliExpress that you could resell, and one of the reasons why dropshipping got so popular is because it was pretty easy to get started with, so it appealed to the masses. Now, how difficult is it to succeed with this business? It's actually extremely hard. It's easy to get started with, but the downside is that it's extremely hard to succeed with. A couple couple years ago, dropshipping became really popular on the internet, in the make money online space. So everyone and their mother was either making videos on dropshipping or starting their own dropshipping store. But naturally, this means that there was a lot of competition and plenty of people just flooded the market selling low quality products for a high price. Plenty of people have been scammed and the market has been oversaturated. So overall, if you can stay away from dropshipping, I would advise it. Now the other business model is to become an influencer on social media. So how would you do that? You basically create content on social media and you build a personal brand, and then you sell your own products or services. You can even get sponsorships and promote other people's products. So how much money would you need to start this business? You can start it for free, or if you wanted to buy some equipment, lighting, a camera, a microphone, you would at least need to spend $500, which is honestly nothing compared to all of the other business models. Now what about monthly recurring costs? How much would it cost every month to keep the business running? Anywhere from $0 all the way up to $50 for softwares. Now how much money can you expect to make per sale, per transaction? Anywhere from $10 up to $1,500. Of course, it's going to depend on what kind of products you sell to your audience. Now how difficult is it to get started with this business? It's actually pretty easy. Anyone can upload a video on YouTube or make a post on Instagram or on TikTok. And nowadays the phones that most people have, they're very decent in terms of recording quality. So you don't even necessarily need to start off with an expensive camera. Now how hard is it to succeed with this business model? It's extremely hard. There's lots of competition and it takes years to start seeing results. Mentally, it can also be difficult to deal with. You'll receive critics, haters, but putting in the work and not seeing results can be extremely frustrating, even if you are ready to deal with that for a while. And when you go on social media, 99% of the time, you only see the big, famous influencers and creators. That is what we call survivorship bias. You only see the ones that succeeded, so it looks easy, but you never hear of the thousands, even in fact, millions of people who actually tried but failed. So bottom line, this is really not for everyone. Not to mention that if you have to build a personal brand, you'll need to be willing to lose your anonymity, to expose a part of your private life, of your personality to the rest of the world. Moving on to the next business model, selling info products. So what is this business? You basically sell information online to other people. It can be in the form of ebooks or even online courses. How much money would you need to start this business? Anywhere from $100 up to $2,000 to get the equipment, like the lighting, the microphone, to have a decent background, the domain name, the professional emails, the softwares. Now when it comes to monthly recurring costs, it could be anywhere from $25 up to $300 a month, again for the softwares. How much can you expect to make per transaction? It can be as low as $5 if you sell ebooks, all the way up to $3,000 if you sell expensive online courses. Now how difficult is it to get started with selling info products online? It's extremely hard, because not only do you need the right knowledge and experience in that field, but it's very time consuming. If you wanted to record an online course, for instance, to do the research, to gather the information, to script all the videos, to record all the videos, it would take you months. I mean, sometimes it takes people 1 year to make an online course. Now how difficult is it to succeed with this business model? It's extremely hard. Not to mention that you run the risk of spending 6 months working really hard to build your ebook or your online course, but then it turns out no one wants it, nobody cares, you didn't get a single customer. Now when you have put so much work into something, that is soul crushing. And also, not only will you need to create the product, the ebook or the online course, but then you will need to market it. So either to run paid advertising, which will cost a lot of money, or to build a loyal fan base on social media, which takes a lot of time. So overall, this business model is clearly not meant for beginners. Now moving on to consulting. So what is consulting? You sell services either to businesses or to other people. You can charge high ticket prices because services are typically very valuable. If you help somebody to find the love of their life, it's insanely valuable. If you help a business to get more leads, more customers, it's insanely valuable. If you help someone to quit an addiction they've been struggling with for years, that solves a very deep and painful problem. So people spend a lot of money on those things. Because you charge high ticket prices, anywhere from $1,500 up to $10,000 per deal, it leads to high profit margins. So you can reinvest more money in the business. You can delegate parts of the work to freelancers and contractors and free up more of your time, either to focus on your hobbies or personal life, or to focus on growing your business. Because you sell high ticket prices, with only a few customers, you can make $10,000 a month already. If you sell a service for $2,000 a month, a recurring service, let's say lead generation, with only 5 customers a month, you're making $10,000 a month. And even if you don't have any expertise, let's say you wanted to do lead generation, but you have no clue how to do that, you could, instead of doing it yourself, hire experienced contractors and you pay them a certain percentage and you keep a part of the profits. In the end, everybody wins. The customer gets what they want, you get to make more money and be free, and the contractor gets to make more money himself. So how much money would you need to start this business? Anywhere from $10 up to $1,000. Now what about monthly recurring costs? costs, typically around $25 up to $150 for softwares, for email addresses and domain names. Now, how difficult is it to get started with this business? It's actually pretty easy because all you need is a professional email address and a domain name. Now, how difficult is it to succeed with this business model? It's actually easy to medium. It's mostly about doing the work consistently, following the right step-by-step plan, and refusing to give up no matter what happens. But the con of this business model is that since there are so many moving parts, customer acquisition, marketing, sales, human psychology, service delivery, hiring, it's hard to figure out everything on your own and to piece all the pieces together. So it's easy to make mistakes. And without realizing it, these mistakes could unfortunately cost you months and years of your time. It's time that you could have been successful instead, making $10,000, $20,000 a month. And that's exactly why I recorded a step-by-step tutorial on YouTube to show you how you can start your own consulting business today. If you're interested, it's the first link in the description below.